Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Competition Archery Media. Welcome to Foley to kick off the 2023 ASA season. We're here at the Hoyt Easton Pro-Am. Got to get that order right. Hoyt Easton Pro-Am, where we just finished on the Open Pro range. This, of course, is Mathews Shot of the Week. Excited to get started off this year. Levi Morgan here. He is gonna, well, you know, we tried other people, Levi, nobody else could help me, so we figured we'd try you too.
Let's set those expectations pretty low here.
Tell us about the day. This was a new range. They just cut it in. How did it go for you today?
It was a rough day, honest. I thought it was a rough day. It turns out that all the scores were pretty low. But it was, you know, probably one of the harder ranges we've seen in years. Really no gimmies out here at all today. So we had to work for every 12. And I felt like I was hitting a little high at the beginning of the round. I missed like 7 in a row, like just over. I hit my first one of the day, very top of it. Then I missed like 7 in a row, just over it. And I decided, let's cut a yard. Cut a yard and aided my next one low. And that was just kind of...
Not to cheer on things that happen to you like that, but that happens to me all the time. It's good to hear it happens at the top,
it happens
too.
to all of us, yeah. I've always said, everybody's like, you must be a walking rangefinder, and it's not really the case. It's more of a game of decision making, and today, every one I made, I felt like was the wrong one. But I finished 4 up, I think 10's leading. So we finished on the positive side.
Right.
We worked for it, that's for sure.
So you're coming from Pennsylvania where it's full-on winter up there, and this is the first tournament of the year. Does that cause extra problems?
Some years, yes. Some years, no. We've had a decently mild since Vegas. I've got to get outside a little bit, but I feel like I've been changing so much stuff, trying to find the right setup, that I hadn't really got a quality practice where I've actually built confidence yet.
Gotcha.
So today there was still a lot of second guessing going on and doubting, and so you know, I was all around a bunch. But honestly, I've had days where I judged like this and shot like this and shot 20 up. So it's just a game that some days it's chicken salad, some days not. You know what I'm saying? It's so today was just a tough day.
So you probably heard, I know it was all over the range yesterday, all over this Graham Creek Nature Preserve. Everybody was talking about it, that I actually hit a 12 on camera. I'm sure that got to you, you know.
Sure, for sure. It was all over social media. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
So, but the reason I'm asking you about that is because you said confidence.
Yeah.
And so what I noticed yesterday shooting was, I shoot scared. And as soon as I said, hey, I'm not going to do that anymore, good things started to happen.
That's right.
I just don't know how to force myself to do that.
It's easier said than done, I can promise you. You know, this is, I think, my 17th year as a pro, maybe. And I feel like I shoot more scared every year. I'm just like, but I think, you know, when I was in my early 20s and really won a ton, 20, 25 to 30, I did not had that many bad things happen to me out here, you know. I just feel like I couldn't miss, couldn't lose, and didn't have bad stuff in here. But the more you shoot, the more bad things happen, more hard losses, the more times you choke. You're like, it's always right here. It's telling you, don't do that again. So it's hard to shut that stuff out. But yeah, I try to just say, you know what, the results have already been decided, and now I just need to shoot my bow, you know. So
gotcha. All right, well, we got a new target. Since there's 2 new targets, I figured we'd shoot one of the new ones. It's the antelope down here. Let's go check that target out. All right, Levi, so this is target 19. It is the antelope. And so I wanted to ask you, when new targets come in, big difference, not a big difference? How does that play in?
It depends. This one was not, because we used to shoot it.
Right.
And I shot it since I was a little kid, and I still had it. Now, like the Wolverine, those kind of new targets that are this big, they're awful. You know, and sometimes it takes years to get used to them, and because you don't see them in enough terrain and to figure out where you might mess up, where you might make a mistake. The antelope has always been one of my favorites, because it's easy to aim at. So it's not as big a deal as some of the other ones. Like the black buck today, they just introduced again. And I hadn't seen that target in years, don't have it. And I shot one of my 8s on it high today. And as soon as my arrow hit, I said, it brought flashbacks. I was like, that's right. I shoot this thing high every time.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I just didn't pick up on it quick enough, so.
No kidding. So I've never talked to you about this. I don't know how you judge distance. What's your process when you come up to the stake?
On a good day, I walk up here and look, and I get an initial feeling just looking at it, just kind of depth perception feeling of what it is. I kind of imagine my arrow firing and the sound of my arrow and how far that would take to get there. And that kind of helps me get a initial feel, and I'll set my sight, and hopefully I'm not leading it, because I use other people arrows, and people I know have tendencies for years out here that I've watched and learned them. And like, I got to shoot with Chris Hacker today, and I know Hacker very well. I know he makes great shots.
Yeah.
So on a target like this, I would use that big time in front of me, because it's a long ways. And so if he shoots high, I know what it's not. And this game is a lot of elimination, right? So that's kind of how I approach it. And then if I'm struggling to get that initial feel, I will use the ground to try just to get close, right? And then use every piece of information around me I can to fine tune that and dial it in.
So we're looking at this one. It's obviously in between and behind some trees. Are you doing stuff with the trees that are in front of it? Like, I think that's this. And
yeah, sometimes, like, you see the two trees that are in front of that one, right?
Yes.
Kind of offset.
Right.
It's a big deal to know how far it is behind those, you know,
Right.
because if it's 5 yards behind those, or if it's 2 yards behind those, right? Especially if you're using the ground and the terrain to judge.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like it's not the best way to do it, because every event, every target, the ground and terrain changes. Sometimes they take it away from you completely, just like this one.
Right.
You can't see the ground past those trees. So being able to look at it and get a good feel, and then go off your competitors, the sound of arrows, and have something else that you can grab a hold to get a good number.
Gotcha.
Has worked really well for me at times.
So I'll tell you my process, and you can tell me. I have a target in my yard that I shoot all the time at 35 and 40 yards.
Okay.
And so I kind of come up and try and visualize that and think, is it farther than that? Is it shorter than that? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yep.
I
call that an
absolute.
I call that an absolute, and I think everybody needs to have that. And that's when you're struggling, it's a number or a yardage you can pick no matter what. Okay. And mine was always the bedded buck at 30 yards.
Gotcha.
I knew so I would picture, okay, where would the bedded buck be at 30 yards? Boom, right there. Okay, and that's how, like, if I was really struggling, I would have that absolute to start my judge, right? And that's what I always called that. I wrote an article years ago when whatever that magazine was called that Tony Haynes had, but I wrote an article about the absolute and yardage judging and how important it is. So yeah, that's all you're doing. So you're on the right track.
All right, well, we'll see here in a second. Let me get my judge here, my distance, and we'll take a crack at it. I'll shoot it first, and then you can shoot it afterwards and hit that 12. I believe I have a number. As I was telling you, Levi, yesterday I was judging, and I was consistently 3 yards low, 3 yards low, 3 yards low. And I did exactly what you said. Then finally, after like the 6th target, I was like, all right, I'm going to add 3 yards, and then I was 3 yards hot.
Yep.
So
it's a game of decision.
Yeah, so all right, I have a number. I think it's correct. We'll see what happens here. I know I don't have the sight cover, which you're supposed to, but
it's fine. I won't look.
Oh well.
Well, I'm gonna listen to your arrow though.
Do you get a lot from that?
I get a lot from that, and the holes that are already in the target, because it's a brand new target when we start.
Yeah.
So I know all those holes are from our class today.
And it's, so, I mean, we'll talk about that here a second. I look down there too to see that, and it's kind of just spread all through the 10.
This one don't tell you much. Unless you were going to shoot it for a really big number. Yeah. There are some holes high, you know, but then they're like, are they shooting it upper or lower? You don't know that, but it'll show you tendencies, you know. That's what I was thinking, but I didn't get any it's kind of that. This one's not a good one. Yeah, it don't tell you much. All right, well, you don't know if you don't try, right? That's right. I'm going to try and shoot this one confident. The other thing I discovered yesterday is, for whatever reason, I like the uppers. So I'm going to go upper. Calling upper. All right, here goes nothing.
Did that go left?
Low left. You hung 8, I think.
That went right where I was aiming, but I went low.
Low.
Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you my number after, but
okay.
Figures.
Well, I'm not going upper. I'm staying with the lower. I called one upper today and hit the lower, so I ain't doing that again.
Man, I thought I had that number. I felt good. Oh, got it.
You get it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the difference between the what were we talking about yesterday? The Joe and the Schmo. That's
I don't
it
know
right
about
there.
that, but I just should have done that more today, I think.
Did you hit this one?
I did
during the
today.
round?
Yeah,
You did.
I did. It was one of the ones I hit, so it really wasn't a fair go for
That's
you.
right.
Yeah.
No, because I want to show people seeing how it should be done,
Right,
not
well,
what I do. Let's go check it out.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Levi, so there it is. You caught that lower 12.
Yeah, you hung 8, so could have been worse.
I could have been worse.
That's
That's
a good
right.
line, though.
As we were saying, now that we're back here, I thought this was closer to that
Yeah,
tree.
see, this is what I was talking about. Those 2 trees that were offset,
Yes.
and it's probably 3 yards past that first tree. So a lot
Yes.
of people, when they look with depth perception, their eye will latch a hold of that first thing they see, and they can't get it out of their head.
I could not get it out of my head
So-
because as we were down here away, people can't hear us. I shot it for 44,
Yep.
and you shot it for
6.5.
yeah. So
Yeah, and so that's about
a 3-yard
miss,
difference.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a tough game. That's why not a lot of people do it well.
Yeah. Well, you know, and so that's what I'm glad you mentioned that because that's one of the things I appreciate. You know, people always talk about the known pro and stuff. But I appreciate this part of the game,
Yeah.
of what you guys do, because that's, I mean, realistically, 44 to 46. That's not a big difference.
Not a bad judge.
But when
Yeah.
you're shooting for these tiny little
Right.
rings, that is a big difference.
Yeah, it's a
So,
hard. It takes a lifetime, you know. And I've been doing this since I was 5 years old, so that's why
Yeah.
I love this game so much. But
That's awesome. Well, Levi, we appreciate your time. Thanks for doing Shot of the Week with us. And yeah, as long as you keep hitting them, that's all right.
you keep shooting them confident, you're going to hit them.
I could say I was confident on
Yeah,
that one.
absolutely.
I just,
2 wrongs don't help.
that's
So,
right.
I appreciate you guys having me. So.
Thanks, man.